approach focuses on cultivating pre-established positive traits like honesty, responsibility, and respect. To internalize these traits, translating them into observable behaviors. Purpose of the trait approach. The trait approach caters to fostering a strong moral development in students. It equips them with the critical thinking skills necessary for sound moral reasoning and responsible decision making. So, teachers' role and strategies. So, how teachers implement the trait approach? Teachers play a crucial role in implementing the trait approach. By embodying and modeling the desired traits in their own actions, they set positive examples. So, additionally, through explicit instruction, discussions, and reflections activities, teachers provide students with opportunities to understand, internalize, and ultimately apply these values in their lives. Importance of the trait approach for your career. Recognizing the importance of positive traits in professional settings allows you to cultivate your own character and foster ethical decision making. Additionally, this approach equips you with effective communication and collaboration skills, building positive relationships with colleagues, and contributing to a healthy work environment.
Focuses on making students aware of their own values through various clarifying tasks facilitated by teacher questioning. So for example, teachers might help students clarify their values by posing questions about selecting, confirming, and acting upon them. They can also inquire about how students might apply or act upon values derived from moral biographies in their own lives. The purpose and importance of values clarification approach provides a means to teach students a set of skills that will always be with them, rather than our values that will only be with students when we are with them. Consequently, rather than lacking morals or judgment, it lacks values.
The cognitive developmental approach focuses on improving moral reasoning, just like Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development. This can be promoted through guided discussion to resolve conflicts presented in moral dilemmas. The purpose of this approach is to develop the knowledge, skills, problem-solving, and disposition of the children that helps them to understand the world around them. An example of this approach is when implementing an activity, just like practicing making connections. They will be able to see similarities between things. And another example is sequencing and grouping. The children will be challenged to group things using their similarities and differences. This approach is necessary for the development of the students. In this approach, there will be situations in which the decision maker must consider two or more moral values or duties, but can only honor one of them. Thus, the individual will violate at least one important moral concern regardless of the decision. The purpose of this approach is to help the students to think critically in any situations given in order to choose the best decision to make. An example activity for this approach is the trolley problem, in which the students are given a certain situation and they had to choose the better solution among the choices. This approach is important for the students' decision-making development, since they will be challenged to seek for the better choices and help them stand firm for their decision, even if other people deem them incorrect.
A student-centered approach in which students learn about a subject by working in groups to solve open-ended problems. This problem is what drives the motivation and the learning. The purpose of a problem-based approach is to encourage critical thinking, collaboration, and real-world application of knowledge, fostering a more engaged and effective learning experience. In a problem-based approach, teachers act as facilitators, guiding students to the learning process by posing open-ended questions, encouraging group discussions, and providing resources for research. They also help students develop critical thinking and problem-solving skills by setting realistic, real-world challenges and assessing their progress effectively.
Reflective teaching involves examining one's underlying beliefs about teaching and learning in one's alignment with actual classroom practice before, during, and after of the course is taught. It is an approach to instruction in which teachers self-analyze their teaching methods, strategies, and results. The goal is to gain and increase awareness of teaching from different perspectives. This helps to inform our intuitions about teaching through the evidence-based understanding of whether students are learning effectively or not. In values education, this could involve reflecting on how well students are grasping and applying the core values being taught. This ensures that the teaching approach remains effective and relevant. The students are able to learn and apply the values being taught in the most effective way possible.
Role-playing approach is focuses on becoming aware of self and others through brief and spontaneous verbal exchanges between students that explore solutions to be given scenarios. Also, the purpose of the role-playing approach is to make learning about the GMRC interacting, engaging, and practical. By actively participating in a role-play, students can better understand the importance of good manners and right conduct in the real-life situations. So, for example, 1. Providing guidance and instructions on this scenario to be conducted, assigning rules to students, allowing them to choose their roles. Also, encouraging empathy and understanding by discussions different perspectives portrayed in the role plays. Also, learning through role-playing helps students develop essential social and interpersonal skills that are valuable in the personal and professional lives.
This approach is where the students are encouraged to make spontaneously free, non-rational choices without the thought of hesitation. An example to this approach is reaction to poverty, wherein it is where the students will react on what causes poverty. It is where the students are to follow the teacher's instructions, answer the questions, and modify their behavior, wherein they are to act in accordance with their pre-specified values. An example to this one is that the students' knowledge and act according to the 10 Commandments.
This approach helps students to become aware and identify their own values. As a teacher, you can let your students share their experiences. You can implement tasks that presents value-laden. So when we say value-laden, it means influenced by personal opinions. Now, what are those tasks? We can have reading, films, role-playing, small group discussion, or even simulation. Now, this approach really helps the students as well as the teachers to build a healthy environment full of trust, kindness, and respect found in a classroom. Moral reasoning approach is the study of how people think about right and wrong, and how they acquire and apply moral rules. As a teacher, you can share to your class and let your student identify the scene if it is right or wrong. So, for example, taking toys that is not yours. With this, you can let your student identify if stealing is right or wrong. Now, this approach is very crucial and important for the development of human capacity to think and differ things in real life.
It emphasizes rational thinking and reasoning. So, an analysis approach is a method or strategy used to inspect, clean, transform, and model data to extract insights and support decision making. So, some example of analysis approach is a researcher studying cognition in preschool children might identify such component skills as problem solving, reasoning, judgment, imagination, and memory. Examine each item in turn and then determine how they interact. Studying and learning analysis approach is crucial for several reasons. It helps in understanding the learner's critical aspects such as demographics, peer knowledge, and social needs, which are essential in consuming the instructions the individual learner's previous knowledge. The analysis process enables the identification of miscommunication between the learner, instructor, and course goals, ensuring that the learner benefits from a productive learning environment that can leave a lasting impact on the lifelong learning. Furthermore, understanding the learner's characteristics, such as their environment, background, and the goals, can help shape the design of the course, making it more effective and engaging for learners.
It enables the students to perceive themselves not merely as passive reactors or as free individuals, but as inner relative members of a social group and system. The purpose of this approach is to have learners interact with one another in a way that's similar to how they treat their actual relatives or members of particular groups to which they belong. The teacher may let learners participate in an act of kindness, challenge, and play a cooperative team-building game with peers. Rewarding the learners will serve as a motivating tactic to keep treating each other that way. Another example is committing to values based on a specific organization. Learning this approach will help them become closer and make amazing memories while acting as if they are biological relatives or fellow group members. Union approach, or pagkakaisa. The purpose is to help students to perceive themselves and act not as separate egos but as part of a larger interrelated whole, the human race, the world, and the cosmos. The role of the teacher for this approach is to facilitate an activity that promotes peace and unity in order for them to build positive relationship with one another. This approach bears some resemblance to the commitment approach. However, it goes beyond the earlier approach because it covers the idea of belonging to a larger community, such as the world or the entire universe.